All right, so we need your mats, and grab some water, take water breaks at any time. This is gonna be a 50-minute class, and I don't really stop for official water breaks, but it doesn't mean you can't. In terms of modifications, please modify however you need to. The generic modifications are basically keep your knees bent as needed, keep your head, neck, and shoulder blades on the floor if your neck is fatigued. You can always do planks on your elbows and your knees. I do give a lot of plank variations, but you can do any plank variation you like. All right. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? All right. And that's that. Here we go. So at the root of Pilates is that we focus on core musculature. And so that would be any muscle that attaches to the spine and the pelvis. We're going to start with our breathing. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through pursed lips. Inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. So in terms of placing your device, if you want, you can place it sort of at an angle near your feet so that you're not like cocking your head sideways like I am. I'm doing that so that you can see me clearly. Generally speaking, we want to look at the ceiling and have the head and neck aligned with our spine. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. We're going to try to keep our breath going throughout this entire 50-minute class. So even when I'm not talking about breathing, please keep breathing. If I'm saying inhale and you find yourself exhaling, that's okay. You're still breathing, so that's good. Now, in terms of our spine position, there's two positions. We have a neutral position, where there's a small space under the lower back, very small space. And then there's the imprinted position, where the lower back makes contact with the mats. We're going to go between these two positions. Inhale, we're neutral. Exhale, imprint. Draw your abs down toward the spine. Lift that tailbone off the floor. Inhale, you return to neutral. Tailbone on the floor and small back. Small gap under the lower back appears. Exhale, imprint. Inhale, neutral spine position. On the exhale, we naturally are drawing the abs in anyways to help expel the air. So it coincides with the engaged abs and the imprints. One more time. Inhale, neutral. And exhale, imprint. Good. I'm going to lift the legs up to tabletop. So this is our tabletop position. Shins parallel to the floor, thighs perpendicular. The knees are right over the hips. We're going to tap out our toes. So maintain the imprint. Exhale, lower the leg. Inhale, return. Moving just one leg at a time, keeping the knees bent at 90 degrees. So you should feel a little bit more work in the abs, working to maintain that imprint as one leg reaches away. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Okay, don't feel like you need to keep your eyes on me the whole time. You can look at the ceiling, keep your head and neck aligned with your spine. Yeah, we're going to do one more on each leg. Exhale. Inhale. Again, reinforcing that imprint. Now we're going to try lowering both legs at the same time. And for both legs, do not feel obligated to take the toes all the way to the floor. If you're going about halfway down and you feel your lower back pop off the mats, then you're going to go halfway down and return. All right, my legs are about hip distance apart. My legs are moving together, but they're not squeezing together. So just adding a little bit more work to maintain the imprint now that both legs are lowering. Again, still keeping the knees bent at 90 degrees. This is our Pilates warm-up to really sort of draw attention to our midsection here. Last time. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. All right, now that we're back to tabletop, you can release the heels. You should just feel those quads kind of disengage. Place the feet on the ground, hip distance apart. Come into neutral. We're moving into our shoulder bridge. Inhale and exhale. Press through the feet, slowly roll up. This is our shoulder bridge or hip bridge. We have many different names here. We're lifting our hips or squeezing our butt. We're drawing our abs down. Inhale at the top and exhale, inch by inch, one vertebra at a time, lower down until Your tailbone is on the floor. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, roll up again, articulating that spine, lifting up one vertebra at a time. Here we're really thinking about reaching the knees away from the shoulders. So find that length in the front of your body. Inhale and exhale, slowly roll down again. And do that 2 more times at your own pace. I'm exhaling to lift. I'm inhaling to hold. I'm exhaling to lower. Inhale and prepare for the final one, pressing through those feet. So we're coming to neutral here, not aiming to push the hips too high, not trying to extend the back. A straight line from shoulders, hips, knees, and then slowly roll on down. Good, ab prep is next, lifting the head, neck, and shoulder blades. That's it, just until the shoulder blades are off the floor, fingertips actively reaching toward the toes. Inhale at the top, exhale, roll down. This is our first spine flexion of the day. Otherwise known as a crunch. So to protect the neck, I nod my chin and I look at my kneecaps. I'm not going to look at the ceiling because that is going to strain my neck muscles. We're inhaling at the top here and then exhaling, rolling back down. Inhale at the bottom, exhale, roll back up. Good. We're moving at a slow enough pace that you should feel your abdominals working. We're not like throwing our body up or anything. Very, very controlled here. This segues into our hundreds. Our hundreds exercise is called hundreds because we're going to pump our arms 100 times. The full length of our arms. It's just going to give us sort of a rhythm. And it also helps create a little bit of challenge by creating movement while our abdominals stabilize. For hundreds, we can leave your feet here, legs together, tabletop, legs together, vertical, or legs together on the diagonal. All right, so I showed you the 4 progressions. You can start here and then finish here if you like. I'm actually going to start with my legs at tabletop and then I will finish at diagonal. Take a breath in, exhale, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up, and we're going to start to pump. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10 inhales. And exhale, 20, inhale, keep reaching with the fingertips, exhale, 30, inhale. I'm going to straighten my legs, exhale, 40, inhale, exhale, 50, inhale, exhale, 60, I'm moving my legs to the diagonal, exhale, 70, maintain that imprint, exhale, 80, inhale, exhale, 90, inhale, and exhale, 100. So that's our 100 pumps. A little bit of endurance of these abdominals. And now we're going to warm up our spine muscles. So we flip over.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
And you're doing the hundreds. If you feel strain in your neck, should you put your head down or on a block? So you don't.
I would put it down.
Okay. So straining your neck is not part of that exercise.
No, it won't be a part of any of today's exercises.
Okay, great.
So I would say put your head down at any point that you're feeling strained. However, lift it up when you can so you can start to sort of build some of that strength and endurance. You can build it up little bits at a time.
Great, thank you.
No problem. So we're here on our stomach to work on our spine muscles. So we still want to keep the head, neck, and spine aligned with each other. So that means I'm going to slightly tuck my chin and keep my eye gaze on the floor. I'm not going to be looking to the right or to the left or up at the wall. There's nothing really exciting to look at anywhere, honestly. And I know the floor is not that exciting either, but it is the safest place for our head and neck. I'm inhaling to lift, gentle pressure into those forearms for assistance, exhale to lower. Now, if you want to continue with the assistance of the forearms, leave your arms right where they are. We're keeping the tops of the feet on the mat. If you don't think you need assistance, you're going to take those arms and reach towards your toes. This allows you to squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other and maybe lift a little higher. But pay attention to your spine muscles and how it feels. We do want to work on the muscles that oppose our abs, but they're a little more delicate than our abs. So just be careful and pay attention to what your low back and upper back is feeling. Couple more. Inhale, lift, reach fingertips for the toes. Exhale, lower. Last time, lift. Again, keeping that chin tucked, and exhale, lower. Take those hands underneath the shoulders. We push ourselves up. And we always give ourselves a little spine stretch right after we do spine extension. So we call this a shell stretch. Imagine there's like a beach ball or something on your thighs, and you're creating a shell over that beach ball. Yeah, next exercise, we're going to be sitting. And you don't have to sit vertical, but we're going to try as much as we can, right? We're thinking about posture, shoulders back and down, spine as straight as possible. Good. We're going to go into our half roll back. So I'm going to round the spine, create that C curve, draw the abs in, spine flexion. Shoulders, where are they? They're going to stay down away from the ears. So just halfway. And then inhale. Now, if you prefer keeping that C curve as you come up, you can keep it there. And then again, feel the abdominal work as you go halfway back. The other option is to lengthen through the crown of the head as you sit up. So getting to a more neutral spine position. Exhale, half roll back. Dig those toes down deep into the mat. Inhale. So we want anchored feet, anchored legs. We're going to focus on what our spine is doing. Neutral to flexion. Good. So we don't want our lower back to touch the mat. Our lower back is really close to the mat. And that's where the challenge is to get our lower back as close to the mat as possible without actually touching the lower back. Good. When we keep our arms straight in front of us, kind of counterbalances our body. Now we're going to play around with our arm position. I'm going to take my front hand, the hand closer to you, towards you. So kind of opening up, no rotation. I'm still square to the front. And then I'm going to bring it back. Now I'm going to take my back arm to the side. So by simply changing the position of our arms, we feel a little bit more in the abs. Continue to breathe. Inhale here. Exhale, half roll back. Now, if you like the challenge of both arms going back, I open up. Now, you don't have to open up all the way. That's the beauty of Pilates, is you can really experiment or try various positions of your limbs, not just your arms, but also your legs later, to create challenge for your abdominals. So if you want to keep your arms straight here, you can, but maybe if you open up a little bit, you can even open up all the way wide. That's a lot. One more here, to any width you'd like. And now we're going to roll all the way down, focusing on spine mobility and articulation. So I roll down, again, one vertebra at a time. I'm going to straighten the legs. I'm going to anchor the heels to the floor. I like to do roll-ups with my feet flexed. I'm going to do 2 roll-ups with single leg lifts here. And I'm going to do 4 more with my heels on the ground, just to show you some options. All right, so we have the biceps by the ears, not resting on the ground, but engaged. Abdominals engaged before we even start. And this is your roll-up. Inhale, arms reach. I nod the chin, I lift my shoulder blades. And then I'm going to get stuck unless I straighten my legs, reach that heel out there, and dive forward for a stretch. Hamstring stretch, lower back, upper back. This should feel great. Now I'm going to start rolling back. Inhale. Exhale, slowly articulate your way down. Keep the heels anchored to the floor. So we're working our abs in 2 directions. On the way up against gravity, on the way down, we're resisting gravity. Try the back leg. Inhale, arms, head, shoulder blades. Exhale, spine. We're looking for smoothness, a nice flow. Moving with the breath. Inhale here. Exhale here. Continue alternating the right leg and the left leg as you do the roll-ups, or you can try the next 4 with your heels on the ground. Inhale. The arms, as they reach and pull, just naturally pull your head off the ground and your shoulder blade. Pilates wants everything to flow from the breath. So if you're gonna focus on slowly breathing, slowly and deeply, I'm inhaling here. And I'm ready to exhale. Still letting my exhale come out, and then inhale. And then I'm ready to exhale here. So which basically means if you breathe faster, you could do movements faster. But the idea is that we try to breathe as slowly, as deeply as possible. Let's do 2 more. It's a very nice stretch and strengthen one. We're strengthening our abdominals, our hip flexors. We'll get to do a nice hamstring and spine stretch. All right. From here, we go into single leg stretch. So our ab series, the focus here is on our abdominals. Now you can do all these exercises, like I said, with the head, neck, and shoulders down, or head, neck, and shoulders up. Head, neck, and shoulders move together. They're either all up or they're all down. So I'm going to start with my head down. And if you recall what I said about your legs or your limbs, you can pick any diagonal you want. If you pick a really low diagonal, it is more challenging to maintain the imprint. So if you can go as vertical as you like, and then you get a little more hamstring stretch. All right. You just pick right in between here. And now I've lifted my head, neck, and shoulders up. Exhale to reach, inhale to switch, exhale, reach, inhale, switch. Single leg stretch. Inhale. Inhale. You generally force that exhale out through your mouth, which that forceful exhalation helps recruit your abdominals. Now we're going to support the head here. So if your head was on the ground, you can lift it up with arm support or our crisscross or bicycles. So we're rotating the upper body, keeping the elbows nice and wide. Support that head and neck. Same breathing pattern. Inhale to transition, exhale to twist. You can always have your hands, or at least one of your hands, behind the head to support the neck. But just know that it adds extra weight to the abs, because the weight of my arms here adds work to the abs compared to arms forward here. The double leg stretch. So again, place your head down if needed. Decide which angle your limbs are going to reach. So Pilates, find a position that challenges you, right? It's not about what anyone else is doing. Head, neck, and shoulders up. So you can reach your leg very low on the diagonal if you like, as long as you feel challenged and you can maintain imprint. Exhale, reach those limbs nice and straight. Inhale, return to tabletop. Reach. When I reach my arms, they don't go past my ears. So if my head's on the ground, my arms can go a little lower. The angle of the arms and legs don't have to perfectly match each other. They don't have to be both 45 degrees. The last one here, exhale, reach, inhale. Going to scissors, if your head's down, and try to reach as high as you can on the leg. Okay, and it's okay if there's a slight bend. Scissors, just like scissors. We're gonna crisscross, or not crisscross, switch legs. One goes up as the other goes down. Exhale, when the legs are straight, inhale to switch, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale on that transition. If your head, neck, and shoulders are up, you can reach a little higher maybe. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And we are done with the ab series. So all those exercises really focus on the abdominals. So hopefully you felt it there. And now to rest our abs, we do more spine work. All right, this time we are gonna lift our legs, but before we do that, I'm gonna have you try lifting the weight of your arms. So if you recall, we started with assisted spine extension, and then we took away that assistance. And then the final version is adding the weight of our arms to our spine. So our spine muscles are now working to lift not just the head and chest, but also the weight of our arms. If this feels too much for your spine, you can go back to reaching toward the toes or forearms on the floor. Inhale to lift the chest, arms all at the same time. Tops of the feet still on the mat. Feet are about shoulder distance apart. And if it feels okay for your lower back, we're going to start to lift the legs. I'm going to lift one at a time. So as I lift the upper body, I lift the front leg nice and straight, extending through the hip. And lower. Inhale, lift, back leg, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Just keep alternating the leg lifts. I'm trying to lift the quadriceps right off the ground. Yeah, one more on each leg, and then let's try a couple with both legs lifted. When I lift both legs, they stay separated. Good. Let's do one more for luck. And go ahead and push yourself back. So then our spine does flexion. So this is flexion. It does extension, which is the arching we just did. It does rotation, and it does lateral motions. We haven't done any lateral motions yet. But now we're going to do the plank. The plank is a braced holding position. It's isometric. But Pilates always adds a little flow to it. So take your options. You can be on your elbows. You can be on your knees. You can hold it. I'm going to be on my wrists and doing some knee movements, which is why I need to be on my wrists. The Pilates always has flow with breath. So if we're in our plank, reaching those heels to the back of the room, getting the hips just underneath shoulder height, in line, straight line from ears, shoulders, hips, and knees. I'm going to exhale, draw the right knee in toward the center of my chest. Inhale, reach that heel back and place it down. Exhale the other knee. Inhale, return. Exhale. I'm using my abs and my hip flexors to pull the knees towards my chest without moving my pelvis. There should be enough range of motion in your hip socket joint that allows you to move your thigh bone without disturbing your pelvis. In other words, imagine there's a nice glass of wine on your tailbone and you don't want to spill it. Exhale, pull it in, inhale, return. So the reason I'm on my wrist and not my elbows is so I have space underneath my body to pull the knees in. One more time on the second leg here. Good. And coming down. So rarely do we shake out your wrists. Rarely do we do a plank in Pilates where we're not also moving some other parts. So now we're going to go into our side lying. So Pilates focuses on any muscles, the core muscles, any muscle attaches to this pelvis and the spine. So we're going to focus on our outer thighs. These stabilize the pelvis. So if we don't have that stability of the pelvis on the lateral side, then our spine won't be stable. Align yourself to the edge, the long edge of your yoga mat. You can raise the top arm, make sure you're a little unstable. That way you know you're right on the side of your body, on the side seam of your clothes, and then place a few fingertips as the kickstand. Lift the top leg, point. Absolutely reach those legs to the far wall, and then flex and lower. Inhale, point, lift. Exhale, flex, lower. Whether I'm pointing or flexing my foot, I'm always reaching as far as possible, finding length in my body. Your abdominals are still doing some work. They're drawn in and they're helping you stabilize. If you're not sure if your abs are kicked in, just lift your hand. Usually they kick in real fast. You start to feel kind of like a fish out of water. All right, so let's do a couple more of these. It's good to get some range of motion in your ankles, which is why I'm doing the point flex. You can keep it pointed the whole time if you like, or keep it flexed the whole time. All right, point the toe, lift it, hold it at hip height. This is the highest our leg will be parallel. We're gonna make very small circles. Inhale for one circle, probably the size of a lime. Exhale, another circle. Inhale. Kneecaps and toenails are all facing forward. So if you can't see my toenails anymore, or all of them, it means I'm externally rotated. 2 more here. So small and tight circles. Good. Reverse direction. Slow and small. That's what I meant to say, not tight. I guess tight makes sense too. 3. Give me 3 more. So very slow and small. So it's practically like a pulsing. Last one. Good. Hold that top leg still right where it is and bring the bottom leg up to meet it and lower the bottom leg. Now your top leg is isometrically holding, so that outer thigh is getting pretty fatigued probably, but that bottom leg, inner thigh is working to squeeze it up there. Good. When you get your legs together, give an extra little squeeze. So we're not just tapping the foot and dropping the lower leg again. Squeeze like you caught a $100 bill. Catch it, hold it, don't lose it. Good. I know that top leg getting tired. Exhale to squeeze, inhale lower, exhale squeeze. You also notice that when you squeeze, your obliques are kicking in here because both legs are off the ground. And now keep both legs together, lower and lift, lower and lift. And hopefully your neck and shoulder area is pretty relaxed. It should be. We're not really focusing on that right now. And the head and neck should be aligned with the spine, which means if they are, you shouldn't be able to see your toes. The only way you can see your toes is because your feet are piped forward or you've dropped your chin and your head is out of alignment. And lift both legs as high as possible and scissor, split. One leg goes forward, one leg goes back. It doesn't matter how far. The goal is to try to keep waist and above perfectly still. So you have to move sort of symmetrically and in unison, right? One leg can't kick faster than the other. One goes forward, one goes back. Good. Both legs are off the ground. Sometimes I understand it's not very comfortable to lay on your side. You might need like an extra little towel. We won't be here for too much longer. Last switcheroo here. All right, before we go to the other side, we're going to focus on the bottom leg's inner thigh, which we did a little bit when we lifted the bottom leg to meet the top, but now we're going to take it with the top leg. It's the kickstand, so we don't really need the kickstand hand anymore. And the bottom leg is going to lift as high as possible. It'll be stopped by the top leg anyways. Good, little circles. You can point or flex your foot. If you find that your foot's cramping, then flex it. 2 more, 6 in each direction. Again, circling at the peak, the highest point you can circle, and keeping the circles small and slow. 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Switch on over to the other side. We're looking for symmetry and balance when we do Pilates, but also we recognize that our right and left side are not always equal, just because of our habits of daily living. So as you work on the other side here, you sometimes might, abs tight, find that it's maybe harder to balance on one side compared to the other, or that your outer thigh muscles fatigue sooner than the other, or maybe just range of motion. It's just increasing your awareness of your own body. Admittedly, as adults, it's hard to change a lot at this point, but still recognizing where we're a little bit asymmetrical is important. All right, so let's lift the top leg and make little circles. And you can always take a hand off, put it back down as needed. The goal is to be able to do these exercises with stability, because we kind of take away from working the outer thighs if we're not stable, right? So we want to use that kickstand hand, reverse direction. We want to use that kickstand hand so that we can work our outer thigh muscles properly. Okay, we're going to hold that top leg still. Feel free to lower the top leg a little bit if the bottom one's not meeting it. You want to find a nice height that the bottom leg can meet it. But it's, still work. You don't want to make it super easy for your bottom leg. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, lower. Remember to give it a good squeeze at the top. Hold for just an extra second or two. Grab onto that $100 bill. Good. Now we're going to keep both legs together. Squeeze your quadriceps. That's what keeps your legs nice and straight. Supports around your kneecaps. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. All right, we're gonna do our scissors. So if you lift both legs and then just ever so slowly with control, one leg goes forward, one leg goes back. Again, you'll feel some in the obliques here. All right, finishing up. We're now ready to work the bottom leg. So we can take the top leg as a kickstand. And I always find myself flexing my foot when I work my inner thighs. I find that I feel my inner thighs more. Definitely want to keep your foot parallel to the floor for that neutral position. We don't want to externally or internally rotate the leg as we lift it. Lift it as high as you can, and let's make those little circles, 6 in each direction. Keep breathing. Reverse. Okay. All right. We're going to do some side planks with some hip dips. So we'll just start on this side. That's already here. The elbows are right underneath the shoulders. And you always have the option to keep the bottom knee bent. I actually sometimes like keeping the bottom knee bent. I feel a little more in the outer thighs and more in the obliques. All right, so the hip dip, if you lift your hips and you form a straight line here, this is what we consider neutral. So you're gonna go below neutral and you're gonna go above that neutral line, all right? So lower and exhale, lift. Lower and lift. Good, so you really feel those obliques and this shoulder here as you push those hips up. And if you wanna do it with both legs straight, you can. You can also do it with legs stacked. Again, you're gonna go a little bit below that neutral and above the neutral. I'm gonna do about 8, but I think just 2 more. And again, whether you wanna do it with your knees bent, the bottom knee bent or straight is up to you. So we're doing the other side. So if you wanna do what I did, I started with my knees bent and then I went straight. You can do that. Or you can keep it bent the whole time or straight the whole time. Good. Remember to stay lifted up and strong out of that, strong through the shoulder. Exhale. Inhale to lower. I'm not lowering so my butt hits the ground though. Just going just a little bit below that neutral. I'm gonna just go ahead and straighten my legs here. Give me 2 more. I'm also not the best at counting, but I also realize that not everyone is working at the same pace as me. So Base it on feeling, quality over quantity. As long as you feel the work, then it's good. All right, so we're gonna go into some teasers. Start with our legs at tabletop, and it's very similar to a roll up, and that our arms are by the biceps. Sorry, our biceps are by the ears to start. The arms are by the biceps. What does that even mean? Okay, so we're gonna reach the arms up, lift the head, neck, and shoulder blades. And we're gonna get stuck here unless we extend our legs and roll up at the same time. So that sort of transfer of weight allows us to get to our tailbone. And here's where we stop for the teaser. This is the difference between the teaser and the full roll up. In order to roll down slowly, I need to extend my legs again to create that counterbalance so I can roll down one vertebra at a time and return. If I just roll down without extending my legs, I will just fall back. That's how your physics work. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders, exhale. Use your abs, extend the legs. Inhale, we're holding in our V. And by the way, this is a modified V, the knees are bent, but you can keep your legs straight. Right, so if your legs are already straight, they stay straight, and then you can roll down. So let me show you one with the legs straight. So I start with the legs to the ceiling. Very similar, inhale, arms, head, shoulder blades. Again, I'm gonna get stuck unless I move my legs to allow for the weight shift here. And then I'm here, balance on my tailbone, inhale. Exhale, I'm gonna keep my legs where they are, roll down, get to my low back, lift my legs, and then return to the start position. Let's try one more. Inhale. Exhale. So you don't really have to do too many of these, right? Because they're very challenging and we do them very slow with intention and purpose. Okay. Give your legs a little break. We're going to actually stay right here on our back and do some leg circles. I'm just going to do a few with the single legs. So with the single leg, you can either, if you're really flexible, you can straighten the bottom leg and circle like this. If you have a little more tightness in the hamstring, then you can bend your knee. So I'm going to circle 3 times in each direction, as large as I can, without falling over, right? Without my pelvis moving. So it's all about pelvis and spine stability here. So how much range of motion do you have in your hip? Circle 3 times in each direction. I'm crossing over the midline. I'm going out as far to the side as I can. But again, I'm not going to feel my body tilt over. Okay, come back to that 12 o'clock. Good, reverse direction. Inhale to circle, downward. Exhale to finish the circle. Inhale, lower. Exhale from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Last time, inhale and exhale. Good, place the leg down and put the other one up. Again, if you have the flexibility, whatever you do on one side, you should do on the other. I'm going to circle across the midline first here. Inhale. Exhale, circling out to the side. And again, you might have different range of motion in your hip socket depending on the leg. For instance, when I was younger, I could only do the splits with the right leg forward, my left leg back because of that range of motion, but I couldn't do it with my left leg forward. I was like nowhere near a split with my left leg forward. Reverse direction. Inhale. There's obviously more to splits than just hip socket range of motion. It's obviously there's hip flexors and hamstrings and all that stuff. But the point is that you're not just symmetrical from right to left side. Last time. So don't feel like there's anything wrong with you. All right. So now here's the challenge here. Both legs circling. When both legs circle, it's not going to go too far. The circle is going to be much smaller, as can be expected. So we're going to circle one way. Doesn't matter which, because we're going to do the other. And the circle also does not have to be a circle. It can be an oval. So we might not go very far to the side because we're going to fall over. But maybe I want a little more challenge. I'm going to go lower towards the ground. So more of an oval or a pill-shaped kind of circle. All right, I'm just alternating We're going clockwise and then counterclockwise. Same breath pattern. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. You decide how oval you want to make this. How low do you want to drop your legs? All right, finishing up on the last one. Yeah, we're going to go into spine flexion again, but not necessarily from the head, neck, and shoulders, but from the tailbone side. So use those arms if you need to, and use a little momentum if you need to. This is more challenging to get the pelvis and tailbone off the ground compared to lifting the head, neck, and shoulder side. Inhale, prepare, exhale. Lift those hips. I want to show you a few variations here. You can extend your legs out and then use sort of the momentum of pulling the knees in to kick up over your head to help with the lift. But if you kick too far over your head like that, I didn't actually feel my abs. It was just sort of the weight of my legs pulling my butt off the floor. So you do want to aim up, upwards. I try not to let my feet shoot past my head. There is a rollover movement, but that's different. Right now, the focus is on the hip lift, spine extension. Exhale. And you can also just keep your legs bent like this, and then kick, and then return to a leg bent position. Let's do two more. The last one. All right, so that was a lot of spine flexion. So we're going to do a little bit more spine extension. All right, back on our stomach here. I'm going to squeeze our heels together. So I'm going to take my knees a little farther apart. So if I direct my knees to the outer edges of the mats, then I can have my toes turned out and my heels together. So before you look face down on your mat, what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze our heels on the exhale. And if it works for you, to lift your knees a little bit as you squeeze. Okay? Again, listen to your body, listen to your spine. It's a lot of work right in the spine area as you do this. It's a great glute workout though. And then for the head, you can have assistance here, or you can lift arms, which is what we did previously, or you can lift with the arms towards the knees. All right, but before we lift the head, neck, and shoulders, I want to just focus on the feet or the butt. So exhale, squeeze the heels together. Inhale to not squeeze. Keep your heels connected though. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, not squeeze. Exhale, squeeze and lift your knees. Inhale to release. Exhale, squeeze and lift your thighs. Yep, so a lot of butt working there and some lower back. And now, if you're ready to put it all together, we'll lift the upper body and the lower body. Exhale, squeeze knees, lift knees. Sorry, squeeze heels, lift knees, lift chest, arms. As long as you're alternating your breath, it all works. Give me 3 more. We're basically working on the posterior chain there, right? The muscles in the back side of our body, our glutes, our lower back, our upper back, mid back, some hamstrings. All right, we have a few minutes left. So I'm going to do one more plank into a side plank. Now you can definitely do this on your elbows. So you want your feet apart. You'll fall to the side and you can drop to one knee to come to your side plank. Then you're going to come back forward and flow to the other side. All right. So you can do that on your elbows. I'm going to be doing this on the wrist. But again, take your options. So I have my feet apart. I'm going to take a breath in. Exhale here. I'm going to inhale to open up. Good. Exhale, I'm going to go back to front plank. Inhale, I'm going to open up to the other side. Fall into the sides of my feet. Keep reaching up. Find the extension in your body. Lengthen your body. Exhale, square to the floor. Inhale, we open. Exhale. Inhale. One more time to each side. Again, feel free to take the option to put a knee down. Even if you're on your wrist, you can put a knee down. Last time. Good. And bring the knees down. All right, shake out the wrists. I'm going to finish with a little bit of a stretch. Now, throughout Pilates, Pilates is a stretch and strength in one. So we don't necessarily do a lot of stretching at the end because ideally we feel like we've been stretching the entire time. But here we're going to focus on a little bit of spine. So you can straddle. You can also sit cross-legged. You want to actually find a position that allows you to sit very, very tall. And if some of us have tight hamstrings, like I do, when I sit with my legs straight, sometimes it pulls my back into a roundness. So in which case, I might not choose to sit with my legs straddled. So I'm just going to demonstrate this exercise. This is the spine twist. I pull an elbow back to initiate that oblique rotation back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Sit as tall as you can. Like there's a string pulling you up through the top of your head. Good. Let that shoulder blade sliding toward the spine. Initiate that rotation. And again, you can be doing this in the straddle split. One more time on each side. And now sitting just as tall as before, lateral bend. Feeling that side stretch. Into the other side. Inhale, reach high, exhale. And just try this movement. Again, if you just did it with your legs in cross-legged, we're going to try to open it up. And this time we're going to rotate and dive down toward one leg. So this is not just the spine rotation, it's spine rotation with a reach. It's okay if your knees are bent a little bit. And also your straddle does not have to be super, super wide. Whatever you're grabbing, like I'm grabbing my ankle, if you want a deeper stretch, just bend the elbow. Gently pulls your chest towards your thighs a little bit more. So we're here, right? This is where we did that spine stretch and continuing the stretch, dive down, grab what we can grab, bend those elbows as needed. I always like to remind everyone at the end of a Pilates practice to remember some of the principles of why we practice Pilates. It's about our posture. It's about getting the strain out of our neck. If we're sitting at a computer for long hours with a hyperextended neck, sort of a frozen shoulders, frozen protracted position, how that's not great. And we want to remind ourselves to roll our shoulders back and down, squeeze those shoulder blades together a little bit, get that chest up, lengthen through the spine. Just kind of remind ourselves throughout the day so that we're not doing Pilates for just, 1 hour a week, but bringing that practice in throughout our week. Thank you so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself.